Hello and welcome to PCMag Live. I'm Max Eddy. This is Sascha Segan, recently returned from, where were you?
Korea.
Oh, the magical land of Korea.
I just visited South Korea.
We should just do the whole show in musical from now on. Well, we're going to hit the top tech news. We're going to answer one of your reader questions. We're going to take something cool off the shelf here in the labs, which is so small it's actually hidden somewhere on this set right now.
It's in my body.
With the biggest news of the day, well, I think the biggest news of the day is that the ACLU has created a public database of all the leaked NSA documents. It's incredible. What do you think, Sascha?
I think that this should make us really appreciate journalists, because what we have here is a gigantic, dull, turgid database of thousands of pages of government crap. And basically what journalists do is journalists are the people who page through all of this stuff and find the interesting ones so that you don't have to do it yourself.
There are like 200, 300 odd documents on this thing. It's enormous. Some of them go back to 1986, and it's full of all these secret court hearings that we've heard about. But if you read them, they are blisteringly dull, and some of them are just PowerPoint slides. I don't know if you've ever tried to read a Department of Defense PowerPoint slide.
Right. Now, as a normal human who has a normal job, and in my case, even as a journalist, except I journalize about cell phones, okay, I don't have time to read all of this stuff. That's why the Washington Post exists. That's why we pay these people at the Washington Post to read all these documents and then tell me what the interesting one is.
I will say, though, that this gives me a great opportunity to finally run through all of the bizarre project names that the NSA has come up with.
They
for
got
this,
great code names.
including ones like Second Date. I don't even want to think about what that does, but it's interesting if you really want to dive into this research, but it is pretty dull. But you can find it by searching ACLU database NSA through Google. I'm sure it shouldn't be a problem. But moving on, we've got the Qualcomm, the fact that Qualcomm has released their fastest chip ever. It is the 64-bit Snapdragon 810. This is all you.
Yes, and there is possibly a tiny scandal in this tiny chip.
Tiny?
Absolutely. I mean, the chip's very tiny because this Snapdragon 810 and the Snapdragon 808 are designed to go into mobile phones and tablets. And we'll start seeing them in mobile phones in probably early 2015. But what's interesting here is that these are Qualcomm's high-end 64-bit chips, and they don't have Qualcomm's renowned flagship processor design because Qualcomm was completely caught off guard by Apple moving the entire mobile space into 64-bit. So they had to take these off-the-shelf ARM cores, which is an option. Qualcomm can license anything from ARM that they want to, but they don't have the advantages in terms of speed and efficiency over standard ARM cores that Qualcomm's Crate cores have. So Qualcomm basically was caught unexpectedly by Apple and had to scramble to put together these 64-bit chips, and so they had to use off-the-shelf parts.
So we are expecting that Qualcomm is going to turn around and start presenting their own cores again?
Oh yeah, absolutely. And they say that, it's sort of hidden in the press release, but they're a little behind. And this is kind of the stopgap chip that they need to maintain their ridiculously huge market share in the mobile department right now.
Well, even though it is made from off-the-shelf parts, it does look pretty nice. It can do 4K video at 30 FPS and all sorts of other fancy stuff, but we will be looking forward to getting those in the labs and playing around with it and see how they stand up. And this is actually probably the biggest news of the weekend. HBO Go crashed during the premiere of Game of Thrones last night. I missed it, so I can't really say much.
Yeah, actually, the real news here is that HBO Go crashed, and HBO does not particularly care.
That is true.
Yeah, people were complaining about HBO Go crashing, and HBO actually tweeted to them, "Send a raven," because HBO gets their money from cable systems. HBO does not want to imperil the money they get from cable systems. HBO does not care about any money other than the money they get from cable systems. You should just go subscribe to cable, you loser.
Yeah, this is really just underlining the fact that they do not, this is like an extra thing. HBO Go is an extra thing for people who already have HBO. It's not made like Amazon's
They are no
service.
WWE, okay?
Certainly not WWE's flawless streaming of the whatever, I can't actually remember the name of it, but it apparently was great. So if all of you people have been relying on HBO Go out there, it might not be the best way to watch it, but hopefully they'll have things worked out for the next episode. And now we're going to move on to a reader question, which is actually from a member of my family, Jim in Michigan writes that after a power failure totally fried a computer, and now he's got a 1 terabyte hard drive, the backup drive. It's got all that information on it, and he wants to put it onto a new PC. And I talked to some people here in the labs, and unfortunately, getting the information from a backed up Windows drive onto a new Windows computer is a bit of an archaic process because you're using a Seagate drive.
But good on you for backing up, Kim.
Oh,
seriously,
yeah, absolutely.
Good on you for backing up.
Everyone should do it, even though it is kind of a pain. But since you're using a Seagate drive, what you're going to want to do is install the Seagate software onto the new computer and walk through the prompts, and it'll bring all the files that are on that drive onto your new computer. Unfortunately, it will not bring things like your applications or your settings or anything like that. There's not really a good way to do that in Windows Vista, which is the operating system that he's using.
There's not really a good way to do Windows Vista.
That's also very true, but again, good on you for not installing XP. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So that's the short answer. The long answer is that there are other ways to back up your PC, but all of them are a little bit iffy. Even the built-in ones don't let you give the full disk image experience onto a hard drive. So for that, you're going to have to monkey around a little bit. If you out there have a better way to back up your PC that can be easily done, please let us know. You can hit me up on Twitter or hit up PCMag Live on Facebook, Twitter, or even in the comments below. And now, it is time for one cool thing. Sascha, what is it and where is it?
This is the thing that I'm fidgeting with. And Max, I need you to show the camera this very up close.
I will absolutely do that.
Because there's a tiny, tiny bit, which is what makes it special.
So this is?
This is the Kingston DataTraveler microDuo 32 gig, which is a $30 32 gig USB stick. And what makes it special is that it has not only a full-sized USB port, but a micro USB port, which you do not see very often on these USB sticks. Now, this means that you can plug it directly into a phone or tablet, and most phones and tablets that have Android 4.0 or higher support USB on the go, which means that they can treat this as an external drive, and they can play files and look at files that are on this drive, except it's been very difficult with the vast majority of USB sticks because most of them are full-size USB, and your phones and tablets don't have full-size USB ports. So you can load a ton of, say, media files onto this thing to play on your tablet on your vacation, and then plug it into your tablet. And you can have, your micro SD card in your tablet, and then this is even more data. Or if you have a tablet like this Nexus 7 that doesn't even have a micro SD card slot, you can use this to expand it. It's only $30. It's a great value. It really makes your mobile devices a lot more useful.
Yeah, and remember, this is great for those times when you've got files that are just too big to make sense to transfer over a cloud system. I mean, that's what I think this is going to be best for, video and things like that. So that's PCMag Live for today. Thanks for watching, and tune in tomorrow for even more of everything.